Breaking now on 4 News Now at 6. A woman attacked and raped in downtown Spokane. How she fought off her attacker.
The above average temperatures are going to stick around, but I'm keeping an eye on wildfire smoke slowly making its way through the inland northwest. How that could impact our air quality and your first alert forecast.
A new fence and new curfew. How organizers say that plan on enforcing new rules at Washington's largest homeless encampment. You're watching 4 News Now at 6 o'clock. We start with breaking news tonight. Spokane police say an 18-year-old man raped a woman in downtown Spokane. Police say the attack happened late last month near 1st and Division. Peter Choi joins us live near that area. Peter.
Yeah, that's right. According to the Spokane Police Department, an 18-year-old Ethan Jake attacked a woman at random, and according to the court documents, she fought him off by biting his fingers so hard that she could actually feel the tissue of his fingers tear. It happened around 1 o'clock in the morning on September 26th. When she was walking her dog on 1st Avenue near Sprague. According to court document, Jake approached the woman, asking her cigarettes because he was underage. She told him no, and officers say that's when Jake ran up on her and hit her before he raped her. During the attack, police say she was able to fight him off by biting him, and they say that's what got Jake to run away. Spokane police say they'll track him down after looking at surveillance footage from the area, and Jake remains in custody in lieu of $100,000 bail. And we reach out to Spokane Police Department for comment on this random attack, and they refer us to the press release, and they said they had no further comment. Live in Spokane, downtown Spokane, Peter Choi, 4 News Now.
Peter, thank you. A man who was just arrested for having a stolen car in August is now facing a new charge. This after sheriff's deputies say he tried to get away in another stolen car and rammed a McDonald's building. It happened Saturday night around 8 p.m. on Havana and Sprague. That's in the valley. Deputies say someone called to report they found their stolen car in the McDonald's parking lot. Deputies say they surrounded that stolen car, and the driver, Sean Marquette, put it into reverse and hit the gas to try to get away. They say he did about $10,000 to $15,000 in damage to the building and was caught after trying to run away. Well, here's a new photo of the damage the crash did to that stolen car. Deputies say a judge has his bail set at $4,000. Well, they say Marquette was arrested in a different stolen car August 6th and released the very next day on his own recognizance. Blue skies and sunshine. Welcome to October, not something we normally say. We'll send it over to Chief Meteorologist Chris Crocker to find out how long this beautiful weather is going to last. Chris.
Oh, we have a lot of beautiful weather in the forecast. Here are 4 things to know. We have cool, clear nights ahead, sunny, warm days with above average temperatures in the 10 to 15 degree above average range. We are keeping an eye on our air quality, however. I'll talk about that in just a moment. High temperatures today in the 80s in many locations, including 80 at Spokane International Airport. That's 15 degrees above average. It's still 80 in downtown, 76 in Spokane, 80 degrees in Liberty Lake, and 79 in Post Falls. Around the inland northwest, we find 81 at Grand Coulee. It's 80 in Moses Lake and 83 in Ritzville, 79 right now in Lewiston. Air quality is in the green range, the good range in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. As you head further into the west, however, the Cascade fires are still dumping a lot of smoke into our atmosphere, and with high pressure in control, it's not going to move much. So you will see the haze on the horizon, and the further west you go, the more downhill the air quality will be this week, and it may start creeping further into eastern Washington and north Idaho later as the week goes on. In the meantime, here is your Tuesday planner. Blue skies, sunshine, a high temperature of 78 degrees. I'll be back with your 7-day outlook in just a few minutes, Aaron.
Thank you, Chris. Gas prices continue to rise. The national average increasing 7 cents in the last week, hitting $3.79 a gallon. You're not going to pay that in the inland northwest. In Idaho, you can expect to pay something higher, $4.42. Kootenai County normally has the cheapest gas in the state, but it's now well above the state average. That's coming in at $4.62 a gallon. Prices are higher in Washington, averaging around $5.30 a gallon, the 5th most expensive in the country. That number is mostly being driven up by the west side of the state. Spokane County, you can expect to pay around $4.76. According to the Energy Information Administration, this recent spike is a classic case of supply and demand, as the total domestic gasoline stock decreased while demand increased. New tonight at 6:30, the Spokane Public Safety Committee is now being asked to approve a $4 million settlement for 2 family members of a man shot and killed by Spokane police officers. Back in January of 2019, police shot and killed David Novak after they say he was accused of shooting at and yelling racial slurs at his neighbor. It was later discovered that Novak was holding a baseball bat and a gun was never recovered.
David did not in any way deserve what happened to him. No one deserves what happened to David that night by the ones that are supposed to serve and protect. He had followed commands. He was unarmed. He was shot in the back, and he attempted to walk through his front door. He didn't run, he walked. This was his home. He did not run into the house. He fell through the front door and died in that spot.
Novak's father settled with the city for a little over $250,000 last month. His mother and sister chose to continue forward with a wrongful death lawsuit. New pictures sent into the 4 News Now Facebook page show damage to the new fence at Camp Hope. The camp now has a curfew. People entering or leaving from that area are not allowed to from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. The Washington State Department of Transportation installed the fence on Friday. Camp leaders say about a dozen people messed with the fence sometime over the weekend. They say they reached out to WashStop to make repairs and improvements. Vanessa Perez is live at Camp Hope with how leaders say they're now enforcing the rules. Vanessa.
Well, camp leaders say the message here is people have to play by the rules. They say this fence is important to people who are taking this seriously and want better living conditions. They say people are still trying to get used to the curfew and fence and that it's a work in progress. 4 News Now received these pictures on Facebook. Maury Smith tells us around a dozen people messed with the fence by hopping over or lifting it. He says they reached out to WashDOT to make repairs and improvements like adding 2 brackets instead of 1.
It's not going to be tolerated. And so we figured we'd have a week to 10-day break-in period where we're breaking in the fence, we're breaking in the campers, getting them used to it. But there comes a point where we say, if you're going to do that kind of stupid stuff, you're out.
New rules at the camp include a curfew from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. Camp leaders say they're making exceptions for people who have jobs. The next step here is to implement a security badge program where people will get a badge with their name and picture on it. This is so camp leaders will be able to keep track of them. Smith also says they're working to get all the RVs out of Camp Hope and into a managed RV park. Live in Spokane, Vanessa Perez, 4 News Now.
Vanessa, thank you. The Supreme Court is back in session. Their first case comes from North Idaho. How a case from Priest Lake could have nationwide ramifications.
There's nothing left. I don't know. I am optimistic. It's heartbreaking.
Rescue efforts underway in Florida as families try to rebuild their lives after losing everything to Hurricane Ian. How long it will take for power to be restored. And new tech is coming to Spokane County that could help crack down on crime. How rapid DNA testing works and why one U.S. attorney says it will lead to more plea deals. That's coming up next on 4 News Now at 6 o'clock.
4 News Now on your time with Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
You'll love saving your green at Jennifer's.
Each month, 4 News Now is focusing on a cause that's important to our community by helping to get the message out. This is good for you to know.
Cancer Care Northwest is coordinated care. Some women and men with breast cancer might need plastic surgery. Some might need chemotherapy. Some might need radiation. It's very complex decision making and definitely needs coordination. Oncoplastic breast surgery combines the techniques of traditional breast cancer surgery with the advantages of cosmetic plastic surgery. The goal is to remove the breast cancer while minimizing the unwanted effects of surgery, helping patients heal both physically and emotionally. Your journey in breast cancer will involve surgery and coordinating that care with the right medical and radiation needs, but with a definite eye to the best function, the best aesthetic, and the best coordination of your cancer care. That's our goal, and you'll be in great hands.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual, but one day, this farmer will use augmented reality to help ensure the best yield. Urban planners will model traffic solutions to help decrease commute times. Exploring a spacecraft in a museum is one thing, but one day, the metaverse will help students learn about the rings of Saturn. The metaverse may be virtual, but the impact will be real.
Thanks to Joe Biden, food, fuel, everything costs too much. His energy policies and massive spending spree are driving skyrocketing prices, fueling the worst inflation in decades. 2 years ago, we were a self-sufficient, energy-independent, energy-exporting nation. Today, our energy production has been crippled. I'm Mike Crapo. I approve this message. Let's stop the spending free-for-all, let loose American energy, and fix inflation.
Criminals in our community will soon have a much tougher time getting away with property crime and more. The Department of Justice recently awarded Spokane County $480,000 to start rapid DNA testing. It'll work to get evidence on crime scenes quickly. Tonight at 6 o'clock, Emily Bloom explains what it will do for our community.
This grant will help law enforcement officers in Spokane County identify, arrest, and prosecute both violent crimes and prolific property crimes in Spokane County. Ultimately, that means more solved crimes in our own community.
There's a need in our area to be able to respond to property crime, and the Department of Justice noticed.
It's a really valuable tool for our local law enforcement to be able to respond to crimes and analyze it for DNA immediately.
If an officer has evidence from a crime scene, they could likely tie an individual to that crime in a few short hours.
Rapid DNA testing is a way that you can have a cartridge and do DNA analysis all within around 90 minutes.
This means officers will be able to respond more quickly to property crimes in our community.
Individuals who are committing property crime, drug crimes, violent crimes, there's often a lot of crossover. And so when we have more DNA evidence, we have more ability to have concrete tools that we can present in our investigations and our prosecutions in order to bring people to justice.
And the value goes beyond this.
It also is a really valuable tool in the prosecution stage.
The DNA evidence can show the jury that the individual was present, and also tying them to a location can more effectively prosecute crime.
Often DNA evidence can be a really valuable tool to have plea deals move forward, because if an individual involved in crime knows that their DNA evidence ties them to the scene, it's less likely to be moving on to a full jury trial.
The hope is that rapid DNA testing can be integrated into many forensic labs across the state. Reporting in Cheney, Emily Bloom, 4 News Now.
Our high temperature today, 80 degrees in Spokane. 65 is our average high. Sunset tonight is at 6:25. It'll be a little bit cooler in the 7-day forecast, but don't get out your parkas just yet. I'll tell you all about it after the break.
Sign up for breaking news alerts with the 4 News Now app.
4 News Now is brought to you by Cancer Care Northwest.
Thanks to Joe Biden, food, fuel, everything costs too much. His energy policies and massive spending spree are driving skyrocketing prices, fueling the worst inflation in decades. 2 years ago, we were a self-sufficient, energy-independent, energy-exporting nation. Today, our energy production has been crippled. I'm Mike Crapo. I approve this message. Let's stop the spending free-for-all, let loose American energy, and fix inflation.
I was essentially canceled for coming off as ungrateful.
Constance Wu, leading actress, movies, television, tells her story.
If your tears could speak, what would they say?
Tomorrow morning on ABC's Good Morning America.
My son's name was Carson. He was just the light of my life. His anxiety and his inability to sleep caused him to purchase a pill from Snapchat, and we know that it's what killed him. Congresswoman McMorris Rodgers is bringing awareness to this. She personally reached out to me. She took the time to hear Carson's story. She has been driven in trying to prevent further loss.
I'm Kathy McMorris Rodgers, and I approve this message.
It's time to replace your old tub with a new shower. But you don't want the hassle or the worry of getting it finished. You just want to pick a style and relax, knowing that it'll be wonderful when it's done. Is that too much to ask? No, actually it's not. Rebath, from start to stunning. Call us or visit rebath.com and save $1,250 off your complete bathroom remodel.
In case you missed it, when we closed out September, we also closed out the warmest July, August, September, 3-month time period on record in Spokane. Our mean average temperature 71.9. Really beat second place at 70.7. That was in 1989. And third place, 2014. August, especially warm. September was not even in the top 10 of our warmest Septembers, but it was definitely above average. 76 right now in Spokane. Winds out of the east at 6 miles per hour. Winds will be light overnight. Clear skies and 73 right now in Coeur d'Alene. Sunset is coming right up. Mostly clear skies tonight, 49 degrees for an overnight low. Tomorrow, a high of 78, sunny and warm with light winds. Here's what's going on. Big picture, we have a ridge of high pressure, and that is going to be with us in some form for the next several days, perhaps even right on into next week. We have a weak disturbance going up and into Canada that will flatten the ridge just a little bit tomorrow. That's not going to have much of an impact on our weather, but we are watching that smoke over in the Cascades that might inch it a little bit further to the east. But other than that, no noticeable difference. This ridge is going to be hanging tough, keeping the skies clear and the weather warm for the next several days. Our overnight lows tonight, with the clear skies, light winds, very dry air. Those three combined handily to allow us to drop into the 40s and 50s for overnight lows. Our high temperatures tomorrow right back up in the 70s and 80s around the region. 78 in Spokane, 76 degrees in Coeur d'Alene, 81 in Lewiston and Ritzville, as well as Moses Lake. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast, and we have got sunshine for days. We'll keep it at 78 for the next 3. A little bit cooler. I will say our average high in October drops faster than any other month. In fact, changes faster in October than any month. Our average high drops about a degree every day and a half. So our temperatures will begin moderating, dropping a little bit, but as does our average high, we'll be in the mid-70s by the weekend and into early next week, with overnight lows down in the 40s through the 7-day forecast. Eventually, the cold weather is coming, and that is why we are on the hunt right now for coats for kids. The boxes are out all around town, so please, if you have a new or gently used warm winter coat that you can donate, stop by any jewelry or the Jewelry Design Center on Division, any Global Credit Union, Great Floors, or Safeway Albertsons. You'll find the boxes there to donate. Also, we'll get those coats cleaned so we can get them into the hands of kids who need them just in time for that inevitable cold weather. And to find out where you can donate, go to KXLY.com/coats4kids. Also, that will be the location where we will post the pickup locations coming in just a few weeks. If you know a child who is in need of a warm winter coat, we want to make sure every child stays warm this winter with your help. Aaron?
Chris, thank you. More than 100 people have died since Hurricane Ian made landfall last week. That number is expected to rise with search and rescue efforts still underway in some areas. CNN's Gloria Pazmino is in Florida with how long it will take for some families to rebuild their lives.
Days after Hurricane Ian tore through Florida, crews remain in active search and rescue.
We are working hard to try and safely get you out. So once we get through this stage, then we can work on rebuilding.
More than 1,600 people have been rescued from Ian's wake so far, according to Florida's governor. Ian made landfall as a Category 4 storm last Wednesday, decimating coastal towns, flooding inland cities, and completely cutting off island communities.
There's nothing left. I don't know. I am optimistic. It's heartbreaking for all those families, for all those businesses. That's why I'm very sad.
Floridians now face the daunting task of rebuilding as they return to unrecognizable cities and towns.
It does add to the complexity of the process. It's been hard to get things here with I-75 shut down. That's been an issue. And the 62% of our population that's over 65 is a problem. And that problem means they need a lot more care and assistance.
Power outages are also hindering recovery efforts. Florida Power and Light says they are working around the clock, aiming to have electricity restored to most by the end of the week.
Filled with sand, debris, patio furniture that ended up in the electrical vault. And this is some of the challenges that our crews have in actually restoring power.
At least 1.8 million people across the entire state of Florida have their power back, but that is going to be extremely difficult in areas like Lee County, where so much of the infrastructure has been wiped out. Reporting in Lee County, Gloria Paspino, back to you.
Hurricane Ian also devastated parts of Puerto Rico. In response, President Biden announced the U.S. will invest $60 million for coastal cities to spend on levees and flood walls, as well as help fund a new flood warning system to give people better time to prepare for future storms, saying when the next storm hits Puerto Rico, we'll be ready.
We know that the climate crisis and more extreme weather are going to continue to hit this island and hit the United States overall. And as we rebuild, we have to ensure that we build it to last.
It will be paid for by the bipartisan infrastructure law that passed back in November. A new report found that despite still being rare, the number of young women being diagnosed with breast cancer is on the rise. We'll explain why doctors say these kinds of cases are harder to diagnose. The search for a possible serial killer is underway in Northern California. Why investigators believe one person is responsible for 5 murders. Coming up after the break.
Download the 4 News Now app today.
In our 43 years of business, Coeur Furniture has worked hard to earn the trust of our customers.
We've done this by providing a great selection of quality living room, dining room, and bedroom furniture at a fair price.
Our staff is trained to help you find the right piece for your home and to walk you through the customization process.
From purchase to delivery, we strive to make your furniture buying process easy.
We know there are a lot of options when it comes to buying furniture.
So try the rest, but start with the best.
Coeur Furniture's 43rd anniversary sale is going on now.
Nice store, low prices.
Get exactly what you want. Wendell Ford is ready to help you find that vehicle you've been wanting to buy. Built for you. F-150, Bronco, Bronco Sport, Explorer, Mach-E, and Maverick. Here's how it works. Make a list of options you want. Wendell will work with you on financing to fit your budget. And then we will order the vehicle of your dreams or select from current inventory. Get exactly what you want. Built for you. Wendell Ford at the Y. Drive for generations.
I proudly served our nation and fought for freedom abroad. I never expected to see our temple of democracy ransacked here at home. It's so dangerous that MAGA Republicans, like Mitch McConnell's handpicked candidate for U.S. Senate, Tiffany Smiley, continue to question the 2020 election. Their big lie is a direct threat to our elections and our democracy. Join me in defending America. Say no to Tiffany Smiley before it's too late.
I'm Patty Murray, and I approve this message.
At Providence, we've been investing in the health of the community and raising the standard of care for over 160 years. And we are honored to bring you top-rated Medicare Advantage coverage. Providence plans start at just $0, include dental, hearing, and vision, and connect you to a network of thousands of local providers. Providence. Join us as we make communities stronger by building true health together.
Hi,
I'm Maggie Yates, and I'm running for Spokane County Commissioner because we need fresh leadership and real collaboration to create a brighter future for all. Together, we will invest in quality, affordable childcare, hold developers accountable for the damage they leave behind for taxpayers, and tackle the burden of rising property taxes on our seniors and families living on fixed incomes. Join us. Together, we will build a safe and vibrant Spokane County.
4 News Now is brought to you by Cancer Care Northwest.
Russia continues to claim it has annexed several regions of Ukrainian territory. Ukrainian forces are fighting to take back parts of those areas in some of their biggest victories this week. According to Russian pro-war correspondents, there are growing signs Ukrainian forces heading south could threaten to collapse Russia's front line. As Russian citizens flee Putin's military draft, he is escalating threats of using nuclear weapons. President Biden is warning Putin of the severe consequences from the U.S. and NATO if he does so.
I don't know how he's going to take all this external criticism. India and China have publicly spoken out against what he's doing in Ukraine and done so right in front of him publicly. So he's losing a lot of sympathetic ears.
Now, all eyes are on a southern Ukrainian city where U.S. experts say a collapse could be a huge blow to Russia's entire war effort. The new tonight at 6 o'clock. According to several sources, the U.S. House Select Committee investigating the January 6th insurrection will hold its next hearing on October 13th. The committee was scheduled to have a hearing on September 28th, but they postponed it because of Hurricane Ian. That hearing was supposed to be the last public hearing before the committee released its final report. The lawmakers have not officially set a new date, but they acknowledge that time is of the essence because of midterm elections. Also new tonight, the National Archives has been trying to get records from former President Donald Trump for more than a year now. They say they've alerted the former president's lawyers that his letters with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un were missing back in May of 2021. They also said they did not get the letter he got from his predecessor, President Barack Obama, and 24 boxes of records. The email was released in response to dozens of Freedoms of Information Act requests. Police in Northern California are searching for a possible serial killer. Investigators say they found pieces of evidence connecting 5 separate murders. They did not say what they found, but only that the killer has a pattern. They went on to say that none of them were drug or gang related. They did release this image, hoping someone could help identify that person. 54-year-old Lorenzo Lopez was one of the 5 killed. He was a musician who often sung about the dangers of gun violence. His brother says Renzo was homeless but was on the cusp of putting his life back together.
It's hard to process that this has happened, you know. I mean, me and my brother have been like twins since we were kids.
Authorities now offering $85,000 for information leading to the killer and asking residents in the area to look at their own cameras for anything that might help in that investigation. Amazon unveiled a new shopping portal called Amazon Access, focused on shoppers who got government assistance. Snap EBT is featured on the storefront, and it also includes information about the company's layaway program that allows consumers to pay for their products over a set period of time. Amazon officials say they want to make sure people who are struggling financially have better and in some cases less expensive options. Local veterans are on a special trip coming up. See how one organization is honoring them with an experience of a lifetime.
Plus, a 15-year lawsuit involving a northern Idaho family has made its way back to the Supreme Court. What's at stake coming up?
Stream 4 News Now on your TV for free with the KXLY Plus app.
Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning is your family-owned and operated #1 HVAC contractor in the Northwest. Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning would like to introduce our own carbon reduction program. Buy a new energy-efficient furnace from Bill's Heating and receive a matching air conditioner with installation absolutely free. No hidden fees, no conditions, no exceptions. Buy a furnace, get a free AC from Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning. Call today for estimates and repairs.
It's time for 4 News Now, Coats for Kids. Just drop off new or gently used coats at any of our sponsored locations. We'll bring them to Alsco for professional cleaning, then get them out to local children in need. Donate to Coats for Kids through October 31st.
Hello, I'm Denver Toon. Jewelry Design Center is very proud and excited to partner with 4 News Now's Coats for Kids this fall. So stop by the store, help your community, and donate to those in need. You can also get your free jewelry cleaning and inspection while you're here.
There are a lot of ways to deal with a stubborn drain. Call us at Mainstream Plumbing. Our high-definition LED camera can go where no plumber's gone before, deep inside your sewer lines to find the root of the problem. Call 866-411-ZAP.
Change is just a part of life. As humans, we're wired to handle life's changes, big and small. COVID-19 is one of those changes, and it's sticking around for a while, whether we like it or not. Each new wave requires us to adapt, to adjust, but together, we will. COVID keeps changing, but so can we. Visit takecarewhat.org to learn how.
With more and more people working from home and not being as active as they used to, there's never been a better time to get back to the gym.
And Move Fitness wants to help. You can join now for around $1 a day to create a new routine for you.
Join the movement.
Next DT, only we're with Selma Blair at her Dancing with the Stars rehearsals.
It's just a joyous thing.
Plus, our Ricky Lake exclusive.
That was probably the scariest, bravest thing I've ever done. I never colored my hair again.
At home with Ricky embracing her next chapter and finding love again.
I've never been happier.
Plus,
I'm like, let's go.
Behind the scenes of Sherry Shepherd's daytime talk show, Next DT.
Watch 4 News Now at 6 and Entertainment Tonight at 7:30. Live from downtown Spokane, this is 4 News Now at 6:30.
It's a court battle that is now in its 15th year. We're talking about a piece of land near Priest Lake in North Idaho. The EPA says that land is federally protected wetland under the Clean Water Act, but the landowners disagree. Now that case is before the Supreme Court for the second time. New on Nightside, here's Jordan Smith to explain.
Well, Mike and Chantel Sackett have been tied up in court in a legal battle spanning across 4 different presidencies. This legal battle made its way to the Supreme Court back in 2012 and again earlier Monday morning. The central question at stake, what is the scope of the EPA's power to regulate private land under the Clean Water Act? In the first day back for the Supreme Court justices, a northern Idaho family continued their 15-year battle against the EPA. The Sackett family purchased this plot of land back in 2004, just 300 feet away from Priest Lake. As they began pouring sand and gravel to develop the property, the EPA paid them a visit. They were told to stop construction and to return the land to its original state under the threat of severe fines.
Their home building plans remain on hold to this day because EPA remains steadfast in its view that their property contains navigable waters subject to regulation under the Clean Water Act.
The Clean Water Act is a statute that protects pollutants from entering, quote, waters of the United States. The statute has been criticized because of the unclear language. In a nutshell, that includes navigable bodies of water and wetlands that are adjacent or next to that body of water. That is where the Sackett's property comes into question. Their land lies just outside 36 acres of wetlands, divided by this road. The EPA believes that should the Sacketts develop that land, pollutants would enter the water beneath their property and later merge with that of the wetlands.
So it's only by combining the water from the Sackett's property with this large wetlands that it comes to the conclusion that there's a significant ecological effect on Priest Lake.
Yes, Justice Alito.
Whatever the Supreme Court decides to rule has national implications when it comes to developing private land and how far the EPA's authority reaches. The question for justices, do wetlands fall into the category of waters of the United States? And we reached out to the EPA for comment. They said they're committed to establishing a durable definition of waters of the United States that protects public health, the environment, and economic opportunities of downstream communities. Some Supreme Court justices acknowledged that the Clean Water Act had vague and unclear language, especially when it came to defining the term adjacent and which wetlands are protected. The court is not expected to have a decision until June of next year.
Here's a live look over downtown Spokane. The lights are on at the pavilion. Sun has already set. It's getting dark. My goodness, that is not your weather forecast. Just an observation. Always comes as a shock in the fall to me when it gets dark so early. It does it every year, though. Here are 4 things to know about your weather. Cool and clear nights for the next week. Sunny, warm days. Temperatures above average in the 10 to 15 degree range above average. We're going to keep an eye on our air quality. There's many fires still burning through the Cascades, and with fairly stagnant air and high pressure, some of that smoke may slowly filter its way into eastern Washington. Right now, things are in the good range until you head over around the Wenatchee area. Temperatures right now are still in the 70s in most locations. We have slipped into the 60s at Liberty Lake and Coeur d'Alene. We cool down quickly with the dry air and clear skies, light winds. It's 76 right now at the airport and 72 in downtown. Still 83 in Ritzville and 80 right now in Moses Lake, 79 in Lewiston and 70 in Bonners Ferry. In your planner for tomorrow, expect sunny skies, a little bit of haze on the horizon, high temperature of 78. 65 is our average high. I'll be back looking 8 to 14 days in the forecast to see if there's cooler weather on the way. That's in just a few minutes. Aaron?
Looking ahead, I like it. Thank you, Chris. New tonight at 6:30, with violent crime on the rise, the Spokane Fire Department has a new solution to keep first responders safe: bulletproof vests. Spokane Fire Chief Brian Schaefer says many times first responders enter a situation with very little information, and sometimes they are attacked just for being there. That includes having rocks thrown at them and, in the most serious cases, responding to active shooter calls.
The volume and nature of our jobs have changed so much that we're actually in reaction mode all the time.
Who's paying for the vests and when they'd be available for first responders? It's a story you'll only see tonight on Nightside. Also new tonight, the new roundabout on 395 in Loon Lake is fully open. According to the Department of Transportation, the project took about 2 weeks to complete. The goal is that this roundabout will reduce car crashes in the area. The department also says there will be some occasional flagging at night over the next couple of weeks, but all detours for the project are gone. 3 new school zone safety cameras are being used in Spokane. They're located at Bernard, Regal, and Ray Streets outside of Ferris High School, Adams Elementary, and Roosevelt Elementary. For now, if you get caught speeding in a school zone, you'll get a warning. After November 1st, you'll get a ticket. A national survey found 2/3 of drivers sped through school zones. Experts say the cameras are proven to slow them down. They also say that a person hit by a car going 20 miles per hour has a 90% chance of survival. That rate drops to 50% at 30 miles per hour and as low as 10% at 40 miles an hour. We have a consumer alert for fans of Brie cheese, especially the Brie and Camembert from the brand Old Europe Cheese. The company is recalling them because potential contamination with Listeria, which can cause serious and sometimes deadly infections. The contamination was found in the facility, not in the cheese itself. As of now, there haven't been reports of anyone getting sick from eating the company's cheese. You can't get a Tupperware party invite? Well, no worries. You can now head to Target for the famed plastic containers. The 76-year-old company previously relied primarily on Tupperware parties and their website to sell their products. Now, just 3 months after launching on Amazon, Tupperware announced it will also be sold at Target stores. Local veterans are now on a big trip to the nation's capital. Inland Northwest Honor Flight sponsors the free flights to Washington, D.C. Esther Bauer was there when they took off this morning.
Almost 100 veterans are leaving the Spokane International Airport right now. They're heading to Washington, D.C. for the trip of a lifetime. The airport was transformed into a sea of selfless heroes. 2 World War II veterans, 7 Korean War vets, and 90 people who fought in the Vietnam War are part of Monday's honor flight. It's a free trip for them, but a priceless experience.
I think they have some nervous anticipation about it, about what the flight might evoke for them. But so many of them in the end tell us it was the best trip of their life.
Organizers say there's a lot of healing for the veterans who take the trip. Many tell us this is the first time they'll see their war memorials in person. Isaac the Comfort Dog is also making the journey with the veterans. This is the first time he's flying with them, and he's going along to provide comfort and support as they travel. And these heroes will return home Tuesday night around 7:30. Anyone can meet them at baggage claim here at the airport to welcome them home from this special trip. Reporting from the Spokane International Airport, Esther Bauer, 4 News Now.
The Washington State Cougars were able to get the bounce-back win they were looking for this weekend, but it was far from a perfect game. Coming up in sports, Alex Crescenti has more on what head coach Jake Dickert is looking for moving forward.
Sign up for breaking news alerts with the 4 News Now app.
4 News Now is brought to you by Cancer Care Northwest.
It's time to elevate your finances. Introducing Ascend Checking, the new free checking account from P1FCU that pays you dividends. Earn 1.45% APY on balances up to $15,000. Plus, get online and mobile banking and mobile deposit with no minimum balance requirements. Level up your finances with Ascend Checking. To open your account, visit p1fcu.org/ascend. P1FCU, a Pacific Northwest original since 1938.
This is it, the moment you've been waiting for. Game day. No, game days. More than you can count. And at Turf Club Sportsbook, we've got all the action. With real sports betting, wall-to-wall HD TVs, and luxury seating. Just off the casino floor at Northern Quest, so you can bet, watch, and win on every game day. Turf Club Sportsbook, the ultimate game changer. Only at Northern Quest.
Sometimes you're so busy taking care of everyone else, you don't do enough for yourself or your mouth. But eventually it will remind you. When it does, Aspen Dental is here for you. We offer the custom dental treatments you need all under one roof right nearby, so we can bring more life to your smile and more smile to your life, affordably. New patients without insurance can get a free complete exam and x-rays and 20% off treatment plans. Aspen Dental, anything to make you smile. Schedule your appointment today.
My husband has diabetes.
Even with health insurance, we're having a hard time affording our medications.
Thankfully, we have Patty Murray fighting for us in the U.S. Senate. She kept at it till Congress finally lowered the cost of prescription drugs.
And capped insulin for seniors at $35 a month.
Now we'll save thousands every year. We know when Patty is back in the other Washington.
She is working for us.
I'm Patty Murray, and I approve this message.
Flight attendant crash pads. Next, Inside Edition. Can you believe they stay in these?
I just wanted people to see what the actuality is.
As many as 30 airline workers squeezed into one house. Then, the early bird special. It's not just old folks anymore.
Eating outside when it's still daylight hours is kind of like preferred.
Dinner at 5. Watch the next Inside Edition.
Watch 4 News Now at 6 and Inside Edition at 7.
Beautiful sunset tonight. Here is a time lapse from our station here at 500 West Boone Avenue, looking over the county courthouse and the Spokane Veterans Memorial Arena. Little bit of color there, showing some of the smoke that is well to our west over the Cascades, but it is slowly drifting this direction. High temperatures today, 80 in Spokane, 80 in downtown. It was 80 in Liberty Lake and 81 in Spokane Valley. 80 at Spangle and Deer Park, lots of 80s on the map. Here we are, October 3rd. Unusual to see such warm weather. Here's a look at our temperature trend over the next 7 days, and we are going to stay with those above average temperatures. Now, this white line way down here is our average high, and that drops very quickly. It's at 65 right now, but drops about a degree every day and a half. So by this time next week, it is down in the lower 60s. We, however, are going to maintain our mid to upper 70s through the weekend and into early next week, and it looks like that trend will continue. Here is a look at the latest outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. This is October 11th through the 17th, and we are in the darker reds and oranges, indicating a very strong signal of above average temperatures. As I've said several times, our average high drops faster in October than any other month. And so our average high will be dropping. We'll still be above average, but I think you'll at least feel a little bit of fall in the air. Meanwhile, very, very dark brown, indicating a strong signal of below average precipitation. So forge ahead with your fall plans, but boy, still be careful with fire. We are still in fire season until the wet weather kicks in. Meanwhile, we just finished our warmest July, August, September 3-month time period on record in Spokane with a mean average temperature of 71.9, handily beating the second place back in 1989. September was not a record breaker, wasn't even in the top 10 for our warmest, but boy, we have certainly started off October with some warm weather, and that continues through the 7-day forecast. Sunshine to go along with those warm temperatures. Meanwhile, overnight lows still in the 40s through the 7-day forecast. No sign of a frost or freeze if you haven't already had one. I know many of you have, but if you are still keeping some gardening going, you can't count on very long days, but don't worry about those overnight lows. Meanwhile, Coats for Kids is well underway across the region. The drop boxes are out at the various locations. And to find out where you can donate, please head over to KXLY.com/CoatsForKids. This is also going to be the spot where we will announce where the coats are being distributed. The goal: keep every child in the inland Northwest warm this winter, and we can do it with your help. Aaron?
Chris, thank you. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The recommended age for a woman to get a mammogram is 40 years old, but a new report says cancer cases in younger women are on the rise. ABC's Stephanie Ramos shows us why diagnosing younger women can be tricky.
I was recently diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer at the age of 29.
These young women in their 20s and 30s taking to social media with a shocking diagnosis: breast cancer. While it's rare, new research shows breast cancer in women under 50 is on the rise, and with it, bringing a unique set of circumstances.
They're just starting their careers, they're starting their families, they have their whole life ahead of them.
We are at chemo for round 2. Entrepreneur Dominique Valentine was just 27 when she shared her diagnosis on Instagram: stage 3 triple negative, found in Black women under 40 at higher rates than in other races.
I didn't think that cancer was something that could happen to me. I also thought that it had to run in your family. That moment I was diagnosed, it was like, you have cancer, okay, you're gonna die.
She found her own lump, as did Alexis Howard, at the time just 21 years old and a college student, then facing stage 2 cancer.
It was gut-wrenching. The only thing that I knew about cancer was it took my grandmother's life. So immediately I thought, oh, my life is pretty much over.
While the risk is low, young women often face breast cancers that can be more aggressive and more difficult to treat.
In younger age women, their biology of the tumor tends to present with more aggressive features compared to postmenopausal women.
Young breast tissue tends to be dense, so it can be difficult to see tumors, even on mammograms. And because breast cancer in young people is rare, it may be misdiagnosed. Dominique says being a better self-advocate could have gotten her a diagnosis months sooner.
I wish that I would have advocated a little bit more and was a little bit more diligent in finding someone who would screen me with no insurance. So I went from August to October when it probably could have been stage 1 or 2 all the way to stage 3.
Another unique circumstance: young women can also face infertility from harsh cancer treatments.
I always dreamt of being a mother. One of my biggest goals in life is to have my own kids.
Alexa says she changed her treatment timeline in order to freeze her eggs. Dominique says she felt the costs were too high. She and her husband Marcus hoped for the best.
Whatever happens, happens, and we have each other. That was the decision that we made together, and here we are.
Baby boy Mally was born in May.
He's everything that me and my family needed. It's like the reward after the storm. Nothing makes me more grateful.
Here's a look at ABC's primetime lineup tonight. It's Bachelor in Paradise at 8, followed by The Good Doctor at 10 o'clock.
Download the 4 News Now app today.
Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning is your family-owned and operated #1 HVAC contractor in the Northwest. Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning would like to introduce our own carbon reduction program. Buy a new energy-efficient furnace from Bill's Heating and receive a matching air conditioner with installation absolutely free. No hidden fees, no conditions, no exceptions. Buy a furnace, get a free AC from Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning. Call today for estimates and repairs.
Flowers are fighters. That's why the Alzheimer's Association Walk to End Alzheimer's is full of them. Because flowers find a way to break through. Just like we will. Join the fight at alz.org/walk.
Oh, life, how small you start. In the beautiful beat of a tiny heart. A wonder to witness, a pearl so rare. Will surround you with love and world-class healthcare. Providence. We see the life in you.
At Washington Trust Bank, can't is a 4-letter word.
I think I'll sell my veggies at the market.
You even remember to water the house plants.
I do this? You can do this.
Hey, we need to build a home office. We're adding another bathroom.
I think I'll study programming.
Bro, you even connect your phone to Bluetooth.
We believe you can do whatever you set your mind to, and we'll help you get there. Washington Trust Bank, privately owned, locally invested.
Thanks to Joe Biden, food, fuel, everything costs too much. His energy policies and massive spending spree are driving skyrocketing prices, fueling the worst inflation in decades. 2 years ago, we were a self-sufficient, energy-independent, energy-exporting nation. Today, our energy production has been crippled. I'm Mike Crapo. I approve this message. Let's stop the spending free-for-all, let loose American energy, and fix inflation.
Code silver.
I'm hurt. You cannot go down there.
Dr. Lim, they need my help.
Don't touch me! Shine.
Look at me.
4 News Now is brought to you by Cancer Care Northwest.
Well, coming into the weekend, we were wondering how the Washington State Cougars would respond to their disappointing loss against Oregon, and they more than answered any questions about their ability to bounce back. Now, we knew the defense is one of the best in the country, especially that front seven, but it was the offense that many were skeptical about, seemingly disappearing for long stretches of the game. And on Saturday, it was a little bit of the same, as they could only manage 7 points in the first 30 minutes. But out of the break, quarterback Cam Ward stepped up his play, leading the Cougs down the field for 3 touchdown drives. He finished with nearly 350 passing yards on the day, and after having 0 yards on the ground in the third quarter, the running backs combined for more than 90 yards. Despite all that in the half, head coach Jake Dickert says the offense still needs to be more consistent for 60 minutes.
I thought the O-line after probably the first 2 series last week really settled in, and I thought they did an efficient, good job. But like I said, it's going to be the turnovers and being more consistent. And then, I loved our response in the pass game, defending the pass last week. And that is exactly what we're going to have this week. We can't have explosive plays going against us because they can score in a hurry. So we got to make sure, especially at the defensive back position, that communication is high and that we're keeping the ball in front.
Cougs will now travel down to Los Angeles for a matchup with the 6th-ranked Trojans of USC. WSU hasn't won this matchup since that epic encounter on that Friday night in 2017. And the Seattle Seahawks are another team in our area who got a bounce back win this weekend. They beat the Detroit Lions 48-45 in an absolute shootout that would even impress the biggest Big 12 fan, as Geno Smith goes for 320 yards in the air and accounts for 3 touchdowns on the day. And the rushing game was just as good. Rashad Penny went went for more than 150 yards and a couple of scores. While that's all nice, getting the win there, the defense gave up 45 points and 525 yards on the ground, and the Lions didn't even have their top 2 offensive players in the game. Hardly sustainable in the NFL.
We got to get better at our stuff. We got to get more consistent, because what's happening is the explosive plays are affecting drives, as they always do. You know, you have an explosive play that the odds of scoring points goes way up, and that's the big concern right now. We came around okay on third down numbers. We didn't do well on fourth down, but we did okay on third downs. But the explosive plays are giving them all kinds of opportunities that we can't give up.
Seahawks will hit the road again this week as they travel down to New Orleans for a matchup with the 1-3 Saints. And checking in on the Seattle Mariners, just underway as they start their final series of the regular season. The M's still have an outside chance of hosting a wild card series, but they're basically needing to win out to get there, and they'll need some help to do so in these next 4 games. 4 News Now, we'll be right back.
Stream 4 News Now on your TV for free with the KXLY Plus app.
At 23, I quit my nursing job to care for my wounded husband, student loans and all. We are living proof that the American dream is about hand-ups, not handouts. That's why I think it's insane that Joe Biden and Patty Murray are sending a stadium full of new IRS agents to force families making less than $75,000 to pay for someone else's law degree. It's division wrapped in intimidation, and I will stop them. I'm Tiffany Smiley, and I approve this message.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. But one day, this farmer will use augmented reality to help ensure the best yield. Urban planners will model traffic solutions to help decrease commute times. Exploring a spacecraft in a museum is one thing. But one day, the metaverse will help students learn about the rings of Saturn. The metaverse may be virtual, but the impact will be real.
Get exactly what you want. Wendell Ford is ready to help you find that vehicle you've been wanting to buy. Built for you. F-150, Bronco, Bronco Sport, Explorer, Mach-E, and Maverick. Here's how it works. Make a list of options you want. Wendell will work with you on financing to fit your budget. And then we will order the vehicle of your dreams or select from current inventory. Get exactly what you want. Built for you. Wendell Ford at the Y. Drive for generations.
Watch 4 News Now as the Extreme Team upgrades the Carl Maxey Center. What we're going to do is go in and get into the next phase of operation. That's going to be a new library. There's going to be a place in back. There's going to be a nice patio. Watch 4 News Now's Extreme Team, sponsored by Horizon Credit Union.
My son's name was Carson. He was just the light of my life. His anxiety and his inability to sleep caused him to purchase a pill from Snapchat, and we know that it's what killed him. Congresswoman McMorris Rogers is bringing awareness to this. She personally reached out to me. She took the time to hear Carson's story. She has been driven in trying to prevent further loss.
I'm Kathy McMorris Rogers, and I approve this message.
I seem to be having a problem with my heat. It seems to be making this sound.
Oh, no worries. We can certainly take care of that for you. At Mainstream Heating and Cooling, we speak your language.
4 News Now is brought to you by Cancer Care Northwest.
This is pretty cool. Hundreds of hot air balloons took flight over the weekend for the Albuquerque International Balloon Festival. There were even some recognizable faces, including Yoda, as you see there, and Rafiki from The Lion King, just in the background. The kickoff wasn't without some hiccups. One balloon did get tangled on a light pole. No injuries that I'm aware of, but always a really cool sight to see. What is that? Missed it.
A cow?
Cow, that's what I thought.
It's a cow.
The dairy farmers of America, maybe?
Maybe so. Here is your Tuesday planner. Plan on beautiful weather, blue skies, sunshine, a high of 78.
You've ever been in a hot air balloon?
No, I don't think I ever will.
You have? Yeah. That's the whole story. We almost landed in a transformer.
Sign up for breaking news alerts with the 4 News Now app. See breaking news in your area or have a story idea? Contact 4 News Now.